Welcome to Recently on Reddit, a tiny Black Panther production. Here we explore some eye-catching posts from a number of popular subreddits. This is sort of an intro to Reddit because, trust me, there's a lot more waiting out there to be discovered. Did you know that people enjoy food more when they're eating with heavy cutlery? That's today's totally useless and unrelated fact. And with that out of the way, let's get to the stories. And from r/entitledparents, posted by LiminaNinja, we have another long post, so bear with me. An EP accuses a taxi driver of being the reason why his precious adult child passed out drunk and missed her curfew. This is a situation my father had in 2013. He was a taxi driver for years, and this happened. He immediately quit and became a truck driver. It was Saturday night. It was well past midnight, so already Sunday, around 3 a.m. My dad had just driven one person home when the dispatcher called him. 3:03 a.m., my dad receives the destination and fare. Disco club, redacted. 2 women, one of them Anna. 3:08 a.m., my dad's at the entrance to the club. 3:12 a.m., 2 girls enter my dad's cab, one of them Anna, around 25 years old, both, and also both drunk as heck. Anna gives 2 addresses to my dad, first her apartment building, then her friend's house. 3:20 a.m., the car is at the first address. The other girl says that she has the money to pay for the full fare, so Anna leaves the car. She's very drunk and insecure on her feet. There's no light at the entrance to Anna's apartment building. My dad uses the headlights of his car to shed light at the entrance to Anna's building so that she can find the keys, open the door, and so on. This is a common practice among taxi drivers. Always make sure that a woman arrives at the destination safe and sound. 3:25 a.m., the car leaves the first address and heads for the second. 3:32 a.m., the car arrives at the second address. In the meantime, the second girl passes out. If it wasn't for this first stop, the total drive time from redacted to the second address would have been less than 10 minutes, by the way, and it's irrelevant for the later events. 3:33 a.m., my dad leaves this car, locks all the doors, and enters the courtyard. This is also a standard procedure. If your fare is unconscious, and even more so if the fare is a woman, do not touch her. If you are at her destination, call someone from there to pick her up and pay for the fare. If there's no one at the destination to help you with her, call the ambulance or the police. So, my dad knew that it was Saturday night, that they were at a disco and had a lot of drinks, and he had no reason to call the emergency, at least not before he tries to get help from a family member. 3:34 a.m., he rings at the house door. 3:36 a.m., the girl's father opens the door. Cast. EP, entitled parent. MD, my dad. EP, who are you and what the heck are you doing here at this hour? MD, I'm sorry to wake you up, sir, but I'm a taxi driver and I've just driven your daughter home. EP, my daughter? Where is she? MD, she's in the car, passed out. Please bring her in and put her to sleep. She'll be sober in a few hours. EP, but she's more than 1 hour late. She should have been here around 2. MD, sir, I received the call from the disco club around 3 a.m., dropped her friend off along the way, and here I am now with your daughter passed out in my car. Please come to the car and take her into bed. EP, what did you do to her? Still standing at the doorstep and accusing. MD, nothing. I drove her here, home, to you. I'm a taxi driver. That's what I do. EP, but my daughter doesn't drink much. She would never allow herself to be so drunk as to pass out in a stranger's car. MD, sir, she and her friend were already drunk when they entered my car at redacted. And I'm not a stranger. I'm a taxi driver. EP, she must have been giving something. MD, sir, I don't know anything about it. I received the call around 3 to pick up your daughter and her friend at redacted. You should ask your daughter about it in the morning when she sobers up. Please come and take your daughter out of my car and settle the fare. Tomorrow you can speak to her and her friend, who will confirm everything I said. EP, she called me around 1:30 and she didn't sound drunk at all. She told me she'd be home by 2, and 2 hours later she's unconscious on your back seat. MD, I received a call from redacted only around 3 a.m., sir. You can ask your daughter tomorrow when she wakes up what happened at Redacted between 2 and 3 a.m. But right now, you should bring her in. I'm not allowed to have any physical contact with my fare, and she can't get out of my car by herself. EP. You're obviously lying because you're telling me you needed half an hour to get here from Redacted? MD. What? I never said that. EP. Yes, you did. You said you picked up my daughter and Anna at 3 a.m., and now it's past 3:30. MD. I received a call from Redacted after 3 a.m., and I picked them up at 3:10 or later. And I also dropped Anna off at her address along the way here. Sir, my car has a GPS tracker, and you can track my locations at any given time during my shift. You can call my dispatcher and ask her for the timestamps, and she'll send it to you first thing after I've made sure my fare has arrived safely at her destination. EP. No, she hasn't safely arrived at the destination. She's unconscious on your back seat. MD. Because she had too many a drink, sir, before she entered my vehicle. That is not my fault or responsibility. I would have helped her out myself if I could, but I'm not allowed to touch my fare. EP. As I said, my daughter would never have too many drinks by herself. I want to know what was given to her. Then bring your daughter in and to bed, and in a few hours when she sobers up, ask her what happened at Redacted or in my car. Ask Anna and my dispatcher as well. But right now, I need you to bring your daughter out of my vehicle before she throws up or something. EP. I'm not going to contaminate a possible crime scene. MD. There is no crime scene in my cab, only your daughter, who needs help to get out of the vehicle and into her bed. She'll be fine after some sleep. She's not the first fare to pass out in my cab during the ride home. It happens, and it's not a big deal. The important thing is that she's home safe and that you can check the last 30 minutes of my shift if you want, with no problem whatsoever. Now, please, help your daughter out of my car. EP. I'm calling the police, sir. You know? MD. Please do. 10 minutes later, there were 2 policemen at the door. In the meantime, the lovely daughter on the back seat of the cab made a huge mess all over the place. She emptied her bladder on the seat and threw up on the floor and back seat and all over herself. The policeman called my dad's dispatcher and in less than 1 minute established that my dad was totally innocent and that he did the right thing by asking the fare's father to help him with the passed out woman. They told the father to bring the daughter in and then told him to leave my dad alone. The man was furious, but had to do what they told him. However, the story didn't end there. 2 days later, my dad's boss received the call from the EP. The boss already knew what happened that night. EP. I demand the fare I had to pay refunded, as I'm going to press charges against your driver. Boss. On what account, sir? EP. For molesting my daughter. I've already spoken to my lawyer. Boss. Feel free to do that, sir. I hope your lawyer informed you of the fact that we have timestamps for the vehicle in question, and that the entire case can fire back on you hard, sir. EP. My daughter doesn't even remember that they called a taxi, and that she ever entered your car. Boss. Your daughter's loss of memory is irrelevant, sir, as video surveillance at the entrance to Redacted confirmed that your daughter willingly entered the vehicle with her friend at 3:12 a.m. on Sunday. And I'm sure you already know that your daughter's friend herself called our dispatcher from her mobile phone. EP. My lawyer told me that your drivers are responsible for their fares and their well-being while they're in your cars. Boss. Exactly. And the only thing my driver did wrong was ringing your door instead of calling the police immediately. He didn't want your daughter to spend a night in prison to sober up and wanted to avoid an embarrassing situation for her. So he made a mistake and asked you to help your daughter out of the car. EP. I'm going to sue your butts for this. Boss. Be my guest, as I already said. And for the record, we're not going to refund the fare. We'll send you a fat invoice for the car cleaning services and for the 24-hour loss of our vehicle and fares we lost thereby. Indeed, it happened as announced by both parties. The EP sued the company and lost epically. The company won, and the invoice at the end of the story was even fatter and now included legal costs and all possible fines the judge could add to it to teach the EP an important lesson about responsibility and false accusations and disrespect. My dad decided to become a truck driver, as truck drivers never have to deal with drunk fares or entitled parents. Yeah, I guess that does make for a good reason to go for a career change. And from r/MaliciousCompliance, posted by qalupiluq, I was asked to read a language I didn't understand by a manager. To set the scene, I worked in a correctional facility with a majority indigenous population being residents as a relief front desk clerk. I'm half indigenous and unfortunately understand little of my cultural language, although I can read and write in the alphabet used for this language, called syllabics. A resident had written a note in syllabics, and staff were trying to figure out what it had meant. My manager assumed I understood the language and asked me to read the note. I'm sometimes a smart butt and decided to go with it. I read slowly, and when I'm halfway through the note, I looked up and said, "You know I don't understand a word I'm saying, right?" He half scoffed, half smiled while saying, "Give me that," and grabbed the note from my hands. It's not a high-impact malicious compliance story, but it made me chuckle. Still, gradually working on learning my cultural language. Got better at reading syllabics, though. So you may be wondering about that random fact in the beginning. It occurs to us here at Tiny Black Panther Productions that everyone can use a little random knowledge, and we like to share ours. So if you have any random tidbits you'd like to share with the world, please drop them in the comments below. I'll read out some of those facts in future episodes at random. Please just be sure they're accurate. Thank you for joining us on Recently on Reddit. Please comment, like, and subscribe. All comments will be read and considered, as it's my goal to get better at entertaining you. Again, thanks for watching, and bye-bye for now.